Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. I just wanted to update you on some of the things that I have been focusing on lately. I'm getting the food box, which is awesome from Appetite for Change, or it's a program that has a couple of different names, and one of those names is Appetite for Change. Um, they have received a grant. Well, perhaps it's not called a grant. They received a gift of $1.5 million. Um, the Minneapolis nonprofit Appetite for Change, which, as I said, also has another name in other areas in which they work. They've been serving 1,500 families this year. Um, I'm not being paid or anything to say this. I'm saying it because I've tried it. It works, and I find it to be a really effective program. And if you've watched very many of my videos, I talk about the food desert that's out there. And by desert, I mean limited access to good, healthy food in the community, particularly in the inner city, like, where I am in the Twin Cities. Um, Take, for example, there are senior citizens or retired or disabled adults who may receive some sort of government stipend monthly. They may be receiving Social Security, whether it's RSDI, SSI, SSDI, whatever. Or they may be receiving some county benefits, which really would probably only amount to like 80 or $100. Most of those individuals, if they're receiving food benefits, at least in the state of Minnesota and other states that I've checked in, the benefits that they typically receive, the financial benefits on their EBT card, whether it comes as food stamps or cash or whatever, is usually between $16 to $20 per month. Now, during the time of the pandemic, the government did increase the amount of the food benefit for people, and I've seen it be a huge, huge help and huge benefit to people because honestly, $16 a month is a bit tight to be living on month to month for folks regarding food, which is why there are other programs out there that also help, such as the NAPS program, which is called Nutritional Assistance Program for Seniors, um, or different mobile food shelves, where trucks go to the larger stores. Sorry, there's a noisy vehicle outside. Where trucks go to the larger stores like Target or Cub Foods or different places or Whole Foods, and they receive donations of food because as new food goes in, the other food that's there needs to be cycled out of those particular stores, and everything that's donated is still fresh, but there is a limited time that it would still be fresh for. So people have an opportunity to shop for those things if they're set up in a food shelf type of a way that where it's set up like a free grocery store. And there are some churches that do it and call it a free grocery store. Um, and people can shop and go through, get what they need. You've got your canned goods, which is nice. You got your rice, the other staples, but then you have, fresh milk, meat, cheese, butter, produce. Those things are going to be time limited. So you get what you're able to get it home right away because there's a certain timeline that works with that whole process, which I can do another video on to explain more about that and more about the Best Buy and sell by dates and and expiration dates and what all those different dates and numbers mean that are on the can of food when you get it. So there are people who are able to have access to those things, and it's a big help to them, because if you're only getting $16 to $20 a month for groceries, it makes things a bit difficult. So people utilize these other sources, or something like the Community Cooks program, which is also Appetite for Change. Like I said, there's different names depending on where you're located, but it does the same thing. It's a program that's offering fresh produce and meat and things to help extend food for people can have more food to eat. But in America, in the United States of America, there, in my opinion, there tends to be a lot of food waste. People get food, and sometimes people will get food just because there's been a donation somewhere. Great, there's a donation somewhere. Do you really need that extra bag of groceries? Or perhaps does your neighbor need it more? Does your neighbor not have anything or any resources to be able to go and get groceries? Sometimes people get so excited about the rush of being able to get in there and snag an extra bag of food that they may get a little upset and want to get in an argument over who's going to get that bag of food. It's kind of like what happens on Black Friday when people go and they line up outside the stores because they know there's a deal coming. Boy, if I can go and sit out in that line like I'm waiting for a rock concert to start, get there early, I could be one of the first ones in to get that, whatever the product is, at a discount. Well, with these food shelves, oftentimes it's set up so that there's enough food for everyone to go around if people have actually signed up for the food shelf and they're not just coming at the last minute hoping that they'll get whatever is left over, because that's like taking a big chance. But sometimes people get a lot of food and they want to eat it as quickly as they get it, even if it's more than they really need or that they're physically able to handle. People eat for lots of different reasons. You eat because you're hungry, of course. But there are people that eat to celebrate. There are people that eat because they're sad or depressed and they do emotional eating. There are people that will pick up that donut just because there's this generous person that brings a box of donuts to work every week and puts it right there, even though you know you're watching your carbs. There are people that are triggered every time they go past the vending machine. Just got to get a bag of potato chips. Got to get a soda out of the pop machine. Doesn't matter if they raise that pop in that pop machine to $3. There's going to be somebody that's going to try to go past there and want to get that soda. I have a challenge for you. And if it's for you, it's also for me too. For the remainder of this year, this is August 22nd of 2022, for the next 4 months, which would take us to December 22nd of 2022. I'd like for us to be more conscious about how much we are eating. I'm not saying starve yourself or deny yourself anything. I'm just saying, as we're preparing food and putting things together for ourselves, let's stop and think, okay, am I really hungry right now, or am I just eating just because? And how hungry am I? Am I so hungry I'm about to pass out on the floor? Am I so full that I feel like my belly's going to explode? Or am I somewhere in the middle where it's time to eat, or I have to eat to take medication or whatever, and just eat enough to be satisfied, but to not stuff yourself? Let's try that over the next few months. I've gone through all these metamorphoses with the channel. First it was Danette's Kitchen, then I changed it to Cooking for One, um, and now it's Danette's Cooking for One. So, considering all that, I'm still focusing on me. If you have two or three or four in your household, you have to cook according to the number of people that you have in your household. You have to make food portion sizes that's going to meet your needs and be sustainable for your needs. But when we look at what's going on in the community, particularly in America, a vast majority of people in America are obese or morbidly obese, children and adults. We're doing the fast food thing a lot, and the fast foods tend to have a lot of preservatives. I'm not saying don't eat it. Sure, you can eat fast food. You can eat whatever you want to. But look at your body. How are you feeling? Do you have the energy that you used to have in the past? Do you have the energy to take a walk around the block or walk up and down some stairs? How do your clothes fit? How do you feel about yourself? Do you have a positive self image, regardless of what other people may think about you? How do you feel about yourself? Because there's always going to be some negative Nelly that comes along. And I apologize if anybody's name is Nelly, but that's just an example. There's always going to be somebody negative that comes along and has something hurtful to say or negative to say that may cause you some undue stress or push you into a corner where you feel like emotionally eating. If you struggle with your eating and you eat too much or whatever, there are different programs and resources that are available across the nation, for the United States of America anyway, that are available to help you. Just like there's an Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, there's actually a program called Overeaters Anonymous, where people can call in and see if they can connect. I'm not sure if any groups are meeting in person or if people have to do it all through Zoom. But it is a resource that's out there. And there's also programs like National Association of Mental Illness. There's a variety of programs that are available to support and encourage you on your journey. Now, what you may need may be different from my own personal needs. We each have to examine ourselves and see what we need and work towards those goals. And try to have someone that's positive and supportive in your corner as you work towards those goals. And if you don't have someone that's positive and supportive in your corner, start writing some notes to yourself, put them on your mirror, positive notes. You can do this one day at a time. So I hope you join me on this continued journey. As I've said it before, life means change and growth is optional. I heard that somewhere back when I first moved here to Minnesota. And you know what? It's true. If you want to grow, You have to do it a step at a time and a day at a time. Thank you for joining me for this short chat. And just so I can toss it in there before I log off for now. Last summer, I was telling people that the price of coffee beans were going to go up. And sure enough, well, of course, we can see it in the store that what they're selling in the store, the price has definitely gone up. But they're saying that there's continued loss of product where they're not able to harvest as much as they used to. Last year, it was that there was a fungus in that was developing in a lot of the coffee beans, or that's what I was told last year by farmers. This year, there's just not as much available. So I hope people have stacked up a little bit of extra coffee so that they can have what they need to help them ride out the storm. We know that food prices in other places and other stores are going through the same thing, especially with chicken and beef and you name it pretty much. I went to the store this morning and was kind of shocked to see how empty the shelves were, but I realized that it could have been that I was there at a time when they were transitioning out the old produce and ready to bring out new. So I'm not sure if that was the issue or not, but I'll go and check again in a day or two and see if those areas have filled back up in that store. So I hope you'll continue to join me as we prepare some meals and things together. I just got in before doing this video from a walk, a power walk around the park. So that's like half a mile. Not much, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So get out there and just get started. Even if you don't feel confident in your ability to do any major walking, even if you don't feel confident in your ability to walk from where you are right now to the end of the block, get started. One day it might just be 10 steps that you take. The next day it could be 15 or 20. But if you start, then you have somewhere to improve from. You can do it. We both can. And make sure you drink plenty of water. Keep yourself hydrated because that's going to be really important. Because if you try to do it as a power walk, you might find yourself sweating a whole lot. So it's always good to have that extra water. And get a journal or have some paper or something and write down how you're doing on each thing. If you're concerned about other health related issues before you start, talk to your doctor. To say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'm not saying go out and run a marathon tomorrow or next week or even next month. I'm just saying let's work together towards being healthier. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.